Hamilton on ABC Illawarra.
It is 3:08 and today Australians are coming together for a National Day of Mourning to honour the victims of the Bondi Beach terrorist attack. Today's theme is Light Will Win, a gathering of unity and remembrance, and Australians being asked to partake in a minute's silence at 7:01pm tonight, as well as considering doing one of the 15 suggested mitzvah for the 15 people lost in the Bondi attack. Across the Illawarra, we've got flags at half-mast. Rabbi Aron is a director of the Shabbat of Rural and Regional Australia and is here. Rabbi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us. Look, I think we can all understand pretty easily that we're having a National Day of Mourning. I'm interested to know about the 15 suggested mitzvah that you look at in your religion. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure, definitely. So today is a very meaningful day as the whole nation reflects on the mourning of those 15 lives that were cut short way too early. And a really appropriate way to observe this day, which is not a day we're used to having, is to have a look at the Mitzvah campaign, which you just mentioned. And the idea of a mitzvah is a good deed, something that every person in this world can do to make this world a better place, make this world a holier place and a place where people can get along a lot better. And the idea of that mitzvah is something which is connected very much with the soul. These 15 people that were taken away from us, they're no longer alive, their bodies are no longer with us, but their souls live on. And so these mitzvahs are something which is very much connected with them and in memory of them.
What does the word, I've heard of bar mitzvah and bat mitzvah. What does the word mitzvah actually mean?
So mitzvah has lots of different meanings, but it means to connect. Mitzvah means to connect. So it can mean to connect with God, it can mean to connect with one another. And that's something which we really focus on now, is to have that connection, something which I think the opposite, the opposite extreme of the terror, which these terrorists brought upon Bondi and the whole of Australia, is connection, is people connecting with each other. And that's what the mitzvah is really all about.
So one of the suggestions is to consider doing one of the 15 suggested mitzvahs. What are they? What are those 15?
So there's a whole long list of them, of the 15. There's ones which involve giving, there's ones which involve connecting with others, with honoring your parents, with caring for animals, with caring for the family, with giving charity. These are all different ideas which actually do have a connection with those 15 victims. So each one of them has actually a specific connection, with the lifestyle and kind of the mission that those different people had. Each of those mitzvahs has a connection with them.
Right, okay. So we are being asked to do a good deed today. That's something that we can do to remember the 15 lives that were lost. What are you doing today to remember the victims of the attack?
Yes, so today's been a special day. What I've been doing is just been connecting with a lot of different people around the country. Just earlier this afternoon, I was in touch with a number of people in the Northern Territory, been speaking to people in New South Wales. And really just, as I said before, the mitzvah is about the connection, is connecting with people, whether it's listening to people, suggesting something they can take on themselves. These are different things. And myself as well, to be able to give more charity, to be able to be more mindful in my day. That's something which I'm really trying to do today.
By and large, how is the Jewish community feeling today?
So it's a somber day, it's a solemn day, but at the same time it's a day where the theme of the day, as presented by the Chabad in Bondi, they're the ones that actually put on the Hanukkah event in Archer Park on Bondi Beach. So they're running a large event in Sydney this evening. And the theme of that event is Light Will Win. That we have been through a very dark period, probably the darkest period of the Jewish people's history in Australia. But that being said, we're here to stay and we're here to continue making Australia, making the whole a better place. And so, this has been an incredible setback, an incredible dark time for all of us. But at the same time, we're here to perpetuate the memories of those that have been taken and to continue building the communities and building up the whole of Australia as a whole.
Yeah, look, today's day of mourning will be felt across the nation. Many people are expected to make their way to Sydney, to Bondi specifically, to memorialise. But how can we help support the Jewish community in regional areas today?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And there are a lot of Jewish people in regional areas. Obviously, a lot of people are living in Melbourne and Sydney and the capital cities, but a lot of people are spread out all over the country, across New South Wales, beautiful South Coast, the North Coast, and beyond. And I think a great way to connect is that, and to kind of, make the most of this day, is the mitzvah theme, to connect with others. A lot of people know of Jewish people in their area, of Jewish people in their town, of a Jewish farmer, of a Jewish guy who owns a shop, who runs a fishing business, whatever it might be, is to connect with them, to say something. A sentiment people have expressed to me is initially after the attacks, They weren't sure what they should say. They weren't sure, should they give some space? But I think that now is definitely the time, we're more than 30 days after the attack, to really speak up and say something, to go over to someone that, that's Jewish, whether you know them in person, you know them online, you know them through your workplace, and say something, say a message of support, and do something like that. I think that's something which everyone really is able to do, and something which really will make an incredible impact.
Are you able to sort of share with us how many people are practicing Judaism in Australia?
Yeah, so the numbers, we've been a couple of years since the last census, but the numbers at the last census was roughly about 100, there's about 120,000 Jews in Australia, and so most of them are in Melbourne and Sydney, but they are spread out all around the country. And in regards to practicing, people have all sorts of different levels of commitment and observance. Some people are attending synagogue every day. Some people have never been to a synagogue in their life. But the Jewish people have been here in Australia for many, many years, since the First Fleet. In fact, there were quite a few Jewish people on the First Fleet. And Jewish people have been making their mark all around the country in many different industries in many different ways.
In religion, there's different denominations or branches of that particular religion. With Judaism, I'm sure the same is true. Are you able to sort of share a little bit about the religion in that regard?
Yes, so there are many different branches of Judaism, and many different, it's the famous joke, two Jews, three opinions, that Jewish people are definitely very opinionated people, and have a lot to contribute and a lot to add. And lots of people observe in different ways. If you are in kind of a more major city such as Sydney or Melbourne, you find all sorts of different synagogues, all sorts of different customs, prayers. Even when it comes to meals and things like that, people sharing all sorts of different styles of foods and such. It's very, very diverse. A lot in common as well. But at the same time, a lot of families will have their own customs and of how they do things, how they observe different holidays. But what we've seen in the past couple of weeks is people coming together, both Jewish people within the Jewish community and also the broader Australian community, people coming together to unite in solidarity with Jewish people. And although there are a lot of differences and, a lot of different customs and this and that, the Jewish people and in general society as a whole, I like to say that people have a lot more in common with each other than we have our differences. Yes, there are a lot of differences out there, but the things that we have in common, if we can just change our focus a little bit and focus on the things that we have in common, we'll find that there's a lot more there than we even think there might be.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, we're all going to benefit if people take on board what we're being encouraged to do today, which is a good deed. I mean, that's just a wonderful thing, really, for all of us, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's definitely a beautiful thing. And as I mentioned earlier, that, this Day of Mourning is something that, thankfully, we're not familiar with in Australia. It's not like we've had a Day of Mourning. I don't recall having a Day of Mourning before. And so people might be wondering, what exactly are we going to do? And this list of mitzvahs, the 15 mitzvahs, which are available all over social media, they're on the New South Wales websites as well. Really good to just have a look at them and find what you connect with and find how you can implement that. And the best thing is if you can implement that today. Don't wait till tomorrow. Don't wait till next week. See if you can get that done today and make that difference. And, if all goes well, maybe you can do that tomorrow as well.
And this is why when children in the Jewish religion turn 15, they have their bar mitzvah and their bat mitzvah. Is that right?
Well, they have the boys have the bar mitzvah at 13 and the girls have the bat mitzvah at 12, so almost 15. But yes, that is the coming of age. That's when they really engage a lot more within the community, within the different mitzvahs that there are, and try to really do those more on a regular basis to be able to enhance their lives and the lives of the families around them.
Right, okay, so it's a little bit younger, but that's when the mitzvahs sort of become part of their practice, their daily practice as Jewish people.
Yeah, it's something which kind of, Judaism is more of a way of life than a religion. It's something which really encompasses all that you do. So really from the moment a baby is born, there are Jewish ways of kind of doing that. But the bar and bat mitzvah, like you mentioned, that is a significant stage in which is, that's quite a significant milestone within the Jewish life.
All right. Well, look, thank you for sharing some insights and educating us a bit more about Judaism, but also thank you for sharing your time with us. Obviously, today is a difficult day with so much focus on, what happened at Bondi Beach, but also a day for us to connect together and mourn as one nation. So thanks for joining us so much.
No, thanks for having me. And I'll just end off. It was really nice. Yesterday, I received a phone call from a member in Wollongong who's actually got a great connection with the Northern Territory, not a Jewish fellow, but someone that really wanted to just show their solidarity, learn a lot more. And so it's really beautiful to see that happening even on a local level in the Illawarra region.
Wow, what did he call and say?
He wanted to learn more. Just what he wanted to know is he wanted to know more about the kind of the Jewish history, how things began, how things continue, He said he had an interest in Jewish history for a long time. Someone a lot more senior than myself, but someone who really was just a pleasure to speak to. And it was out of the blue, but it was so interesting to receive that phone call from someone right, in the Illawarra region. And as I'm sure many people are aware, we had a beautiful event, a vigil on Hanukkah, which was attended by more than 200 people in Wollongong itself. So really just beautiful to see that local spirit there. Within the beautiful area, and to see people coming in solidarity and support, and wanting to connect, wanting to do that mitzvah, wanting to connect. So thanks so much for having me. And
I love that.
yes, hopefully everyone can hop on those websites, see those mitzvahs, and take some on themselves.
Oh, Rabbi, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you. That is Rabbi Menachem Aron from Shabbat of Rara, which is the Shabbat of Rural and Regional Australia here at BC Illawarra. It's 19 minutes past 3, and just to remind you, at 7 o'clock tonight we are reminded to have that 1 minute of silence for our National Day of Mourning.